Hey guys, Dr. Jason Torado here. Welcome back to Monday Mindset. So today we are talking about why do most chiropractors fail? Now that's not all chiropractors, but why do most chiropractors fail? It seems like it's a mystery. I've been in business for 20, 30 years, and I can honestly tell you that there's definitely characteristics, certain characteristics about chiropractors that fail in practice that they all have in common. And I really want to go over that. I mean, I see it all the time. I see just too many chiropractors. They're working too many hours. They're just not thinking right. Okay? What they are thinking and what their patients are thinking, I mean, are two totally different things. They're completely off base. I think that a lot of chiropractors end up just doing too much of the wrong things, and they're just not doing enough of the right things. I also feel that a lot of times chiropractors aren't doing enough things. They think they're doing enough things, right? They're maybe on Facebook and they're posting and they think like that's enough. Like that just because they're busy on social media during the day that that's enough to be able to build your business, but that's not. And they think and they get themselves so busy with stuff like that they they think that that's going to be successful, get them successful, but it doesn't. I think that a lot of chiropractors really have poor judgment, and that might be you. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had horrible judgment my first couple of years in practice. As I told you, I made a poverty level income my first 3 years, and primarily it was because I had horrible judgment, and I didn't want to admit to it. I thought that I had really good relationships with my patients, but the way I spoke to patients, my communication with patients, my rapport with patients was absolutely horrible. I mean, it really took me some time to learn how to establish good relationships with my patients, good rapport with my patients. Another thing was I didn't really have, where I was as a chiropractor was not what people were looking for. And so my position in the market in my particular community just was all out of whack. I thought that, I was thinking one thing, and the majority of the patients or my community were thinking of, I was thinking of one thing of how a chiropractor should be, and the majority of my community around me was thinking that a chiropractor should be completely different. So that was, I mean, I was completely messed up in the brain because of that. And I see a lot of chiropractors that are in that type of situation and they don't change and their practices fail. I think that in those situations, a lot of chiropractors are out there and they are selling the wrong thing. They think that, there are a lot of chiropractors that sell wellness. And I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. But if you're in an area that's not really interested in wellness, then, that's a hard sell. Wellness in general is just a really, really hard sell for most chiropractors. You've got to realize that, chiropractic is a business. And I get it. I want to heal the world one spine at a time, but chiropractic is a business. So when most chiropractors don't do well in practice or they don't reach their dreams, or when some chiropractors fail in practice, a lot of times it's because they're not really a good business person, good businessman, good businesswoman. They're just not. And so what happens is they spend money on things that they shouldn't be spending on. They get bad advice, or they work too many hours. They work, they give away too many things. They discount their services too much, and a lot of times they don't really have good skills, and they run out of money and they just run out of business, and that's just what happens. And so I think again, it's because they don't know how to run their business. And a lot of chiropractors, when I speak to them, they think that, the reason I'll ask them, why do you think you're not, why do you think you're failing in practice? And they'll tell me because I don't have enough new patients. I mean, really, like, is that really the solution? I don't have enough new patients. That's a crazy statement when I hear something like that. When I hear doctors say to me that they're failing in practice because they don't have enough new patients, I know that they haven't given it enough thought. They really haven't. And God knows they have plenty of time because their offices are empty. They just have not given it enough thought. They're spending too much time on social media. They're not taking responsible for what's going on inside their practice. So I'm going to tell you something. I could send you 100 new patients tomorrow or this month, and you'll blow right through them. Those doctors that aren't good business people, they will literally blow right through them, and by the end of the next month, they'll need another 100 new patients in order to be able to keep their business open. It's like those people that hit the lottery. They hit the lottery for a couple of $1,000,000, and then they interview those people 5 years, 10 years later, and they've gone through all the money, and they're back where they were in the same financial income status as to where they were prior to winning the lottery. And so if they were poor before they won the lottery, then 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, after they piss through the millions of dollars that they got, they're back in a poverty level. It's because of their mind. It's a poverty mindset. And so, they think they won the lottery, but it only gets them just so far. So really think about that. Are you a good business person? Do you have good business fundamentals? That's really important, really, really important. Are you like most chiropractors out there, that are trying to convince the marketplace that chiropractic is not about pain relief? Think about that for a second. Okay. So look, I've come down to a few ideas of why chiropractors why chiropractors fail in practice. And again, the number one thing is because they're not good business people. That's the reality. Another reason is because they can't get out of their own way. They get offended so easily, and that's not cool. That's not going to help you out. That's not going to help you out at all. Another reason is because most chiropractors have no idea what's going on with their business, meaning what their profit is. They don't know what their overhead is. They don't print out profit and loss statements. They have no idea. A lot of chiropractors don't have, they have employees, but they don't really have any guidelines for their employees. They don't have a list of duties for their employees. That's crazy. You've got to be able to, have a list of duties for each and every single one of your employees. It can't be like the Wild West. There's a lot of chiropractors out there that don't have any employees. And, some of them are doing very, very well. I'm not saying that you have to have employees, but there are a lot of chiropractors that aren't able to make decisions properly. And you've got to be able to make decisions, and you've got to be able to make decisions quickly. You cannot spend too much time. I find that one of the traits of very, very successful people is that very successful people in general make very, very quick decisions. Are they wrong? A lot of times, yeah, but they're right a lot of times. And because they're right a lot of times, they become very, very wealthy. They're willing to take a chance. I think that a lot of chiropractors don't believe that they can be successful. And what happens is, fear just limits them from making decisions. Fear limits them from taking that next step, right? And so that's why, they don't, that's why, they let fear just get in the way. Basically, they don't inspect what they expect. And so I think that a lot of chiropractors nowadays are very, very uncomfortable with change. That's why, and changes inside the Bible. Jesus wants you to change, right? Jesus says, don't put new wine in old wineskins. If you've ever heard that story, the story is very, very simple. Wineskins don't stretch. Old wineskins don't stretch. And so if you put new wine inside these old wineskins, they won't stretch. You're going to explode the wineskins. Right? So put new wine in new wineskins. And so that's the way your brain has got to be. Your brain has got to be able to stretch. And a lot of chiropractors, they're dealing with old wineskins in their brains. They've got to be able to stretch their brain a little bit. Another thing is time. Many chiropractors out there, they're just not using their time wisely. And it's really important that you get a lot of things done in a short amount of time. Let me give you an example. Chiropractors that I coach, they hire my team to do many different things for them. We send out newsletters. We customize videos for them. We send out text messaging for them. I mean, there's an abundance of things that we do for our clients, and we get them all done, and the doctor can continue working. Very, very simple. So they get a lot of things done because they have people doing it for them. And so you have to understand that, most chiropractors are not doing nearly as much stuff as they should be doing on a daily basis. So, and again, just posting on social media is not enough. So think about it. It takes, a lot of chiropractors think that it takes time to build a practice. And you know what? You can build it, and it does, but you can actually grow your practice rather quickly if you are doing a lot in a short period of time. Take a look inside your office. A lot of chiropractors that are very, very successful, they have modern offices, modern paintings inside their offices, right? They are dressed appropriately. They look like professional doctors. And so, does think about it. Take a look at your office. Does your office look like a mainstream doctor's office? Yet, a lot of these doctors that don't have these offices that look like mainstream doctor's offices, they want the respect and they want the compliance from their patients and they want to make a lot of money, but they can't. So these are things that a lot of chiropractors have to overcome. Another one is, what makes you different than the chiropractor down the block? Think about that for a minute. Are you doing the exact same thing as the chiropractor down the block? Or do you have something unique about your services? Extremely important. A lot of the majority of the chiropractors that I coach, I try to make sure that they have some type of unique selling proposition or something that they do that the chiropractors around them don't do. And all these things can contribute to becoming successful. And if you're not doing these things, well, then all these things can contribute to you not being successful. You got to understand that there's a lot of things there are a lot of things that you've got to be able to do to run your business and run your practice like a successful business. It doesn't happen overnight, but when you start doing things right the right way, and every single day, then things start to get a whole lot easier, a whole lot easier. I hope this makes sense, guys. Right? That's it for today's Monday Mindset. Love everybody, and blessings to everybody. And if there is something that you're stuck with in practice, and you feel like you kind of plateaued, or if you need some help with growth, don't hesitate to contact me. Shoot me a message, and I'll get right back to you. Take care.